Hello everyone and welcome to Wargaming Coven again. We've got an unboxing video for the new game from Spiral Arm Studios, which is Maelstrom's Edge. So these are the same guys that run Daka Daka. Now within the box you're going to find a number of cards. I've gone ahead and top loaded these already, so hopefully the camera can still pick them up. First of all, you will find a number of stat cards. These are for both the Karist forces and the Aperians. You've got your normal statistics, which along here you've got special rules, you've got fairly clear artwork, and then on the back you've got unit options. So essentially you're using this side when you're playing and this side during army construction. What's particularly nice, if I just flick through, when making your army selections you pick HQ choice, and for the Aperians we have the Journeyman Bot Handler. And on the back it shows for the different types of units how many he unlocks. So in this case he can have between 1 and 4 of the core types, 0 and 2 of the hammer, 0 and 2 of Vanguard, and 0 to 2 of Anvil. And for comparison, find for example the Scarecrow Robot also unlocks units, although in this case a different selection, and they must have the robot keyword. So that's quite a nice simple way of list building, and is certainly a nice touch. Amongst the other cards you will find these game cards, which will define your primary and secondary objectives, and then there's a tertiary objective, but this is dependent on the factions. Currently there is one for the Aperians and one for the Karists, and they also define the points values for whether you half complete it or full complete it. So you'll select one of these and then you'll go through, and there's all these cards here which then go into more detail. So for example, this one says breakthrough, so you're going to find breakthrough, so that's your primary mission, and then you'll find meat grinder and so on. It's a really nice way of mission construction. It leads to a lot of different combinations in terms of mixing and matching different play styles, and looks to be fairly comprehensive and one of the more well thought out objective based mission structures out there. Also unlocked as part of the Kickstarter, which is a particularly nice and classy touch, and goes to show the level. It was easily one of the most professionally produced Kickstarter videos and productions. A lot of work had gone into it beforehand. It has shipped on time, there's been regular communication, it's really well done. One of the upgrades, and you can see I haven't card protected these yet, though they're quite glossy, was for a card game, and I can't remember the exact number of cards now. So you've got a number of planets here. These are planets within the Zycanthus system, which is currently where the Zycanthus system is so far the first place where the Karists have sort of made themselves known, operated openly. And then we've got a variety of ships. These are all Aperian franchise ships and so forth. You've got civilian transport ships, goods ships, and so on. And then you've got a number of event cards that you go through, which show the arrival of things like the Maelstrom, which will destroy planets as it goes along. There's also some cards here from some of the factions that haven't been released yet. So you've got, where is it, the Remnant, the Arturian Remnant, and the Broken, who are the criminal resistance sort of group that are also trying to get off planet. So what's really nice about these cards is that they're actually a little card game you can play, and it's I can't remember the rules off the top of my head now, but it's largely who can save the most resources before the Maelstrom comes and destroys everything. So you're essentially playing rival Aperian foundations or franchises, trying to evacuate as many people and resources as you can. Currently there are models for the Aperians, which are the human organization, sort of collection of different companies and franchises that in a capitalist society and trying to make enough money to buy passes off world and so forth. And the Karists, who believe that through proper religious beliefs and behavior and fairly liberal drug use, they can ascend to a higher plane of being. And so currently there's models for those two factions. There are in the main rulebook the Broken and the Arturian Remnant I mentioned before. The Arturian Remnant are the survivors of a series of highly industrialized rich worlds who formed their own fleet as they fled away from the Maelstrom. There are some minor factions. Like, there's lots of different little minor alien races. Anyway, within the set, you get some of everything. You get at least one of all the models produced, and you get this amazing terrain sprue. Now, what's particularly fascinating about this is that it encourages construction of your own scenery. So you can take things, just boxes, bits of foam core and so forth, and these are accents, architectural detailing, whatever you want to call them, that you can simply cut off and glue, and you can be quite flexible. So I've seen a number where they've used this door hole, a number where they've cut it out to show an open door. I've seen that, and then with the parts remaining, I've seen this cut out to make a series of windows. I've seen this turned into a barricade. Even because the sprue is particularly chunky and quite well formed to be used as piping. If you look at the thickness, you can see it's particularly thick as well. It's very durable. Everything in Zycanthus, in Maelstrom's Edge, is HIPS hard plastic. So, you know, polystyrene, glue, and all that stuff's good. Very easy to cut, very easy to convert. And these are the larger architectural pieces: doorways, vent fans, windows, so forth. And then here are the trim pieces. So you've got a ladder, you've got these pieces which you can use for columns, you can use them for roof edging or girder work, that kind of thing. It's really flexible. It allows you to get a consistent look across scenery. They can be very economical, how you can spread these out so you can create a lot of scenery very quickly. And it's that nice sweet point where you don't necessarily want to buy something that's super trivial to construct because you want to put a bit of your own panache into it, but at the same time you don't want to be sculpting everything from scratch yourself because you want to be painting and modeling. So this is absolutely superb. The sprues are quite good value. I would highly recommend picking them up. They're very flexible in what you can do with them. They're very durable, very hard wearing, and you've got a good range of uses that can be quite inventive. You'll see on Maelstrom's Edge website there are a lot of examples of how people have created quite impressive things using these, and just leftover bits like boxes for holding screws and so forth. And anybody who has a garage will have a lot of stuff they can use these with. Okay. Now, what they've also done with a lot of their sculpts, everything is multi-part, and there are a lot of customization options, a lot of pieces. You'll find extra limbs, extra bodies, extra arms, extra heads, so you can get a really unique look. It's not a huge scale game. You're not going to have scores and scores of miniatures, so what you have is really flexible and adaptable. This sprue makes one model, the Khaddar Nova. This is the leader for the Karist faction, and you can see you've got 3 different pairs of leg options with associated uniform pieces and so forth. You've got this awesome backpack. You've got 2 heads. There's 2 arms for each side. So here we have the Karist Trooper sprue. So these are your core units. They can either take up, if you have 1 special weapon within them, they take up 1 slot, a core slot. If you have 2, they take up a vanguard slot, I think, or a heavy slot, 1 and 2. And again, you can see the flexibility here. Torsos separate from waists, separate from legs. You've got a lot of different arm combinations. You've got some really smooth shoulder pads. You can see there no mold lines. Even around the edge, there's the only cleanup you have on these is clearing off where they've been attached to the sprue. And then we have weapon options. You've got your normal pulse carbines, which can be upgraded. We've got a grenade launcher with multiple round types, and we've got the radio wave emitter here. And you really can get a lot of you really can get a lot of posability and adaptability out of this sprue. And then we have the Karist Tempest sprues. Each one of these sprues makes 2 individuals, and there are 2 weapon options here. These are the elites of compared to your Karist troopers. They're much more heavily armored, as you can see by torsos here. And again, you get 2 of these sprues. Again, very posable, very adaptable. On the Karist front, you have the Shadow Walkers. These are stealth units. They are capable of rifting through scenery and moving all over the place. Essentially allows them to move through terrain and up vast distances. And they are very well trained. This sprue has enough to make 2 Karists, but only 1 head. But the Karist troopers have additional heads, so you can move one over. So essentially you're getting two Shadow Walkers off a single sprue, which is an incredibly good value deal. You get 2 of these in the set. The Karists also work with an alien species called Angels. And these guys actually eat the Cybele energy that makes up the Maelstrom and the tunnels that travel between solar systems. And they are controlled and used by... They have trainers, but they also use like canisters that release the Cybele energy onto the adversary, and the angels go and eat them. This is actually the adult angel. You'll see one of these fully made up at the end of the video. This is an incredible kit. The smoothness of these parts is just incredible on all the limbs. You're actually going to use just 2 of these. These are Tanner's legs. But in the backstory, the torso and the head are the only parts that remain constant. All of its connections and limbs and so forth, they are this sort of amorphous void gel that can change form. So you really can go to town with your conversions. You can use things that aren't on the sprue. But personally, I just use everything that's on here and tweak in different ways. And you can do nice little stuff like if you get 2 of these, you can swap bits apart to give different looks between the 2 sprues. You normally only get 1 of these in the box. People who back the Kickstarter and who late pledge, well, I believe the late pledgers get it as well. They should get a second one, which is very generous. Again, real easy to assemble. When you want to do the conversions, you just clip these bits off these tabs, and then you sort it. And finally for the Karists, we have the baby angels, the angel minnows. Now each sprue makes 2 of these. They are flying units. You can mix and match different wing types. You can put them upside down different ways. Again, these are this void gel, so they're adaptable and changeable. You get 2 sprues of these, so to make a total of 4. Again, very smooth, nice and thick. You'll notice everything, pretty much everything apart from a couple of the pieces that come on the drone, Firefly and Spider drone sprues for the Aperions are very thick and very sturdy. What you'll find is there's a lot, particularly when we get to the Aperions, there's a lot of fine detail, not shallow like you'll find on things like PVC plastic, but fine, but also some very well-defined detail, but in every case nice and thick and durable. They're designed to look good and be safe to play with, and it's just one of those things that is really impressive about how well thought out this product's been put together. Now onto the Aperion Foundation, who are the people I'm going to be playing with. These guys, this is their standard Contractor sprue, which makes 3 men and is sort of the equivalent sprue for the Aperions that the Karist Trooper sprue has. And you get a wide variety of different head options. These are the normal maglock weapons, and then you've got underbarrel grenade launchers and pistols, which they're all sort of equipped with. Again, you've got multiple leg poses. These ones are fully assembled, but there's a nice variety of different posing. Lots of different arm combinations. They are paired up, so it makes it really easy to then fit the weapons on and still have them work well together. They have a kind of Wild West aesthetic, wearing sort of chaps, because Zycanthus hasn't been finished terraforming, so they have a nice sort of real world, kind of grounded, slightly Wild West feel to them. And again, this makes 3, and you're going to get 2 of these sprues. Again, you'll see here heroic proportions. It's not true scale, but that gives the plastic its durability. And you can see there the fineness of the detail and things like particularly the back sort of cybernetic pack plants of the contractors and the very fine detail in the weaponry. This leads on to the bot handler sprue. Now this sprue makes 2 bot handlers. Again, you can see you've got lots of leg options, lots of head options, lots of weapon options because you've got different configurations there. Everything is so well thought out here. You can really get very, very easily nice individual looks between all of these guys. This sprue can make either the bot handler, who can lead units of spider bots, or you can make with the antenna pack down here the journeyman bot handler, who acts as the leader, the guy that unlocks the different weapon options for the Aperians. And they fit in very nicely with the contractors. These guys in the background can, the more capable, can actually project their consciousness into the bots that they are controlling, much to the dismay of the Khaddars, who find that very uncomfortable. Now, the Hunter Mech is the largest of the robots that you can control currently. And these guys are incredibly fearsome in the books. They're quite something. This set is actually composed of 3 sprues. I'll go through each one. We've got this one, we've got larger sprue here, and then we've got the smaller weapon sprue. Now something you'll notice as well, look how nicely that protects the sprue details. As with everything else here, really well thought out. This is the main body, which again you'll see a fully assembled one towards the end of the video. This is approximately the size of a human. And the core body just clips together in these 2 halves, very simple. And then the posability comes from the connection. So we've got legs going here and shoulder joints here. These are actually the forearms. Here you've got shoulder joints, connects to the forearm there, connects to the upper body there. You've got leg connections there, and then you can see, there it is, there's a slot that these feet parts slot into. So you've got posability essentially in every joint that a human would have. These can be posed for different surfaces and for uneven ground independently. These, because they're ball joints that go into the main body, these can be posed all kinds of ways, and that's without even snipping that off and doing something crazy yourself. You can just flex that around. Again, you've got shoulder flexibility, slightly less because these are bulky shoulder pads. You know, there's they're quite stout, but you know, the forearms they don't have sideways movement, but they have up and down. And then on the forearms, this is where you connect your weapon systems in. So these pieces here, these go in pairs, and these are the dual suppressor machine guns, which put out a lot of rounds. And when they're together, they kind of, essentially, I guess, this game's version of the heavy bolter. They're kind of nasty looking. Here is the weapon sprue that has other options. So we have this hooks on, and then you have a little fist, which can be the powered fist. That's one of the default weapons. Then here, I think, if memory recalls, it's a, when I say maglock chain gun, something like that. So default is hydraulic fists and hopefully maglock chain gun, and you can swap out for either weapon for the dual suppressors, but you can also take this flat gun, which is like it's a shorter range. It's got quite a nice little, I don't know if that's a heat shield or ballistic shield around it. That is slightly more powerful at range. And then also you have additional options in the form of, you can add optionally, because you don't have to take them, rocket pods. You can have either strike pods, which think like a crack missile on 40k, or cluster pods, which fire burst outwards. So really adaptable, really flexible. As when you think about it, there's lots of different combinations there. These are actually designed to sit on top of the shoulders up here from behind, but I've seen lots of conversions. People have done it differently. I've done it differently. You can create some really unique looks with these guys that really add to the bulky chunkiness of it all. And also you get 2 of these in the box set. 2 big mechs, like that big. Really cool. Okay, and now onto the workhorse bots of Imperium Foundation. So this is a bot sprue. It will make up 2 bots, and you have different options here. You can either make the spider bots, which are these guys. So these are the legs, and then the chassis are here. They slot on top, and then your weapon systems go in just under here. Or you can make the Firefly bots, which are the ones that hover, and you attach to them a couple of turbines. So you can configure these either way. And as with everything, you're going to have leftover parts because there's so many pieces in all these sprues. You can mix and match things on here with stuff from the Scarecrow Bot sprue or the Hunter Mech sprue, and you get some really cool stuff. The Firefly drones have a single weapon, which is the laser cutter array, and that is going to be, I believe, this jobby here with the nice chevroning down the side. The spider drones don't get access to that weapon, but they have 2 other choices. They can have a maglock weapon or a flak gun. Again, the flak gun is slightly shorter range, works slightly better. These things here, these very thin jobbies, these were, if I understand correctly, actually experimental weapons that they weren't happy with the durability, even though it's perfectly thick to me when you compare it to what a lot of other manufacturers putting out plastic-wise, that you can also use just for visual customization. I've seen people use them as antennas and all kinds of things. So again, lots of stuff on there. You get quite a few of these sprues, because in the box you can make up, I think it's 4 spider drones and 4 Firefly drones. And when you field Firefly drones are fielded by themselves. When you field spider drones, you can have 3 of them with one of the bot handlers from earlier, or you can have 4 by themselves without the bot handler. And finally, that brings us on to the Scarecrow sprue. This builds a single robot. You get 2 of them. You can add the antenna array to make this a command unit, which allows you to then control various robot units. It's quite customizable with its weapons. It has a maglock rail rifle, which is a little bit like a sniper rifle. And then you can tweak it. You've got things like the Chemtech sprayer, which can mean that anything within 6 inches treats terrain as dangerous. There's a flamethrower. There's several different weapon combinations between the 3 different weapons on the sprue. The rulebook, it's nice and large. It's sort of an A5 size. You've got initially a good chunky amount of backstory. It's full color, lots of incredible full color artwork. They've really gone to town. Loads of concept art that's been put in here. The rules themselves are well laid out, and something that you'll notice specifically is the writers have gone to great pains really to catch all the kind of different edge cases, and so there's lots of very clear, very precise how different rules interact with each other, which leaves very little to be FAQ'd. But at the same time, you can easily, the way it's laid out, you can easily see which section is talking about what, and if something's obvious to you, you can just skip that and move on to the next set of rules. One of the nice things that funded as part of this Kickstarter are these plastic bases that are customized. So you can see you've got your front and rear arcs marked with these notches on the side. These are for normal infantry. You can see here these are for bots. Scarecrow Bot goes on that. And then this huge one here, you can see a notch there. And there are for the Karist Adult Angels. It also actually makes them quite easy to pick up because you've got something to grip, whereas a normal bevel sometimes you might not be quite so easy. For the Firefly drones, they don't come with these kinds of bases. They have these with the plastic rods that naturally you want to replace with brass rod. They do actually provide a little bit more stability. You can see you've still got your arcs marked there, but you could, replace them with that. And the game has cardboard templates. Now, suppression is a very big part of the rule set, and these tokens, different sizes, which also have slightly different artwork to give variety, indicate different number of suppression tokens. You'll notice as well the artwork fades before it gets to the edges, so you can actually, when they're cut out, you can then go and use paint or pen or whatever to black in the edges where the card's showing, and it blends in quite nicely. What's particularly nice, these represent conventional weaponry, so the Empyreans putting blast markers on the Carists, but you also have a purple one. Now the Carists, for their weaponry, they use raw Cybele or refined Cybele energy, depending on the weapon in question. And so this represents their weapons putting suppression tokens on the Empyreans, which is rather nice. And you get the same effect. You've got conventional weaponry templates, and on the reverse, the Cybele ones. Very nice purple. So there you have it. This is what one box of Maelstrom's Edge will get you. A well-written, expansive rulebook. Terrain for at least 1 or 2 entire buildings, depending on how you spread it out. 8 Empyrean drones, which can be Firefly or Spider drones. 2 Empyrean bot handlers, which can be configured either as journeyman or normal. 2 large hunter mechs. 2 Scarecrow mechs. 6 Empyrean contractors, which can be done in 2 units of 3. And then the Carist front, you've got 4 Angel Minnows, baby ones. 1 adult Angel. 2 Shadow Walkers, which with the extra heads can actually make 4. Khaddar Nova Leader. 4 Tempests, which can make 2 units. And 6 Carist Troopers, which can make 2 units of 3. We've got a wide array of mission cards. We've got stat cards. We've got a card game. Bases for everything. It's incredibly good value. The rule set is strong. The models are nicely varied. It's had a lot of thought put into it. Plus, you can pick up novels, audio dramas, all that stuff, which really brings you into the world. I thoroughly recommend it.